Duckworth, thank you so much for your leadership as the chair of the subcommittee. We so appreciate your help.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your leadership in getting the FAA reauthorization bill out of committee in a bipartisan way. I also want to thank Chair Homendy for being here today and for your work on the MAX 9 investigation. I have a few things I want to say in a statement before I ask you some short questions. It's because I'm particularly concerned about NTSB's finding that pilots on Flight 1282 were unaware that the cockpit door was designed to automatically open during the kind of rapid depressurization event that took place on that Alaskan airline flight when the door plug fell out. As a pilot, I cannot convey strongly enough how critical it is for the flight crew to be fully informed of the features on the flight deck. An in-flight emergency is not the time for a flight crew to first learn about something like this. And then also, as we saw with MCAS, pilots not knowing about a flight deck feature can be deadly. This is even more alarming considering that this is the third time that Boeing has kept information about MAX flight deck features from pilots. And the FAA in the past has let Boeing get away with it the first 2 times. This has become a dangerous pattern which FAA absolutely needs to break. At the start of the MAX program, Boeing removed MCAS from the flight manual with FAA's blessing. Subsequent investigations raised questions about how candid Boeing had been with FAA about the significance of MCAS. Despite this, when evidence emerged of an internal plan at Boeing to intentionally downplay the significance of MCAS to a regular, FAA did not investigate. So they reduced the significance of MCAS to just a regular concern. These are internal Boeing, so I have my poster here, which is the internal email within Boeing itself that says this. These are internal Boeing meeting minutes showing employees planning to not use the term MCAS outside of Boeing because, and I quote, if we emphasize MCAS as a new function, there may be greater certification and training impact, end quote. They also show a member of Boeing's Organizational Designation Authority, the ODA, approving this plan. Yet, FAA took no action in response to this evidence. According to the Department of Transportation Inspector General, FAA did not even consider finding out who this ODA unit member was to ensure that he or she was not still authorized to perform certification work on behalf of the FAA. Boeing also intentionally hid from pilots the fact that the AOA disagree alert on nearly 80% of Boeing's 737 MAX 8 aircraft was not functioning. When Boeing discovered this defect, it did not report it to FAA or inform airlines or pilots, opting instead to keep it a secret. Keep producing planes with this same known defect and wait years to fix it until a planned software update in the future. Boeing's plan was disrupted, however, when the first 737 MAX crashed in 2018 and worldwide attention began to focus on AOA sensors. The company was forced to admit that the AOA disagree alert was not functioning on most 737 airplanes and that they knew about it. Unlike MCAS, this was not a safety-related issue. However, this was a clear violation of the MAX's approved flight design. And this is a finding from the U.S. Department of Transportation Office of the Inspector General. DOT's Inspector General recently looked into this and said, and I quote, all features included in the type design are mandatory, whether or not they are required for safety. Thus, while the disagree message was not necessary to meet FAA safety regulations, it was required to be installed and functional as part of the approved type design, end quote. Yet, FAA took no action against Boeing for this brazen, intentional, and repeated disregard of its approved type design. If FAA is not going to bother to enforce its own regulations, why would Boeing ever obey them? So, Chair Homendy, here are my questions. Would you agree that, as a matter of safety, pilots need to know what features are on the flight deck?
Absolutely. It is a matter of safety. They need to be fully informed so they know what to expect.
Thank you. Would you also agree that it is dangerous for pilots to first learn about features on the flight deck during an in-flight emergency?
Yes, and I would extend that to the entire flight crew, including the cabin crew. One member in this particular flight was hit by the door as it blew out. There was a lot going on at the time. It was complete chaos. They need to know what to expect, and this was a complete surprise.
Thank you. You're referring to the Alaska airline incident.
Yes, Alaska 1282.
Yes, thank you. If FAA does not enforce its required type design, do you think that that would make a manufacturer more or less likely to abide by that type design?
This is a difficult one for me to answer because this is not something that we've investigated.
Okay, thank you. And I am over time. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you so much.